I just want to move on right now to um, being trans, because you're going to face so much adversity from family and friends and the public in general, right? And you have been going through this already. So let's start with you on this. What does being trans mean to you even now?
Me, yeah. I think it's being comfortable of who you are, being trans.
Hmm.
So it's like even though you go out in public and everything, like even though people look down on you, like why you girl being a boy and everything, like why do you need to be trans? So sometimes in life you can't control how people's life are.
Correct.
I think.
Yeah.
So being as trans is like it's your own willingness to be in it. So it's best like there's no judgment in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people will constantly tell you shouldn't be this. How do you deal with that? How do you feel about
Yep.
that?
How do I deal with it? I'll be like, it's my life, it's my path. So whatever consequences with it, like I go through it. Like it's not you. Yeah.
Right.
So whatever decisions made in the future, it's like all me. Yeah.
Right. Ashen?
So basically, like it's basically coming in terms to yourself and self-love. So like for me, it was difficult at first, because I grew up in all girls school, and then I had a lot of girlfriends. I just got comfortable with being with the girls. But then after, when I started transitioning, it was that like suddenly my girlfriend stopped calling me out for like some event outings and everything. It was quite a drastic like culture shock for me, because then it was okay, I gotta go out with the boys, and then it's just a different type of topic, and then you're just not used to it.
And the boys, do they accept you?
Yeah, basically they do. But in Malacca, it's just that weird thing where they just call you like, oh, you're transgender, huh? You're just like a transformer. I'm just like, what? I don't get it.
So what, you're an Autobot right now? Like what?
Exactly. So it's that that transition of like from what you're comfortable with for majority of your life, and then now it's just like, okay, now you need to start accepting that, okay, I'm trans now, I'm a guy now, and I have to hang out with the guys only because like the girls don't want to hang out with me anymore, and it's just that like of course I feel that it's better in a way, because then I know that okay, maybe I lost a lot of friends, when I came out. And I lost a lot of family members as well, and I'm away from my family members as well. I don't live with them, and it's just that okay, now I know who actually really really cares about me, and who actually really wants me to be happy, for being myself. And I think that's the most important
When
thing.
you say you don't live with them, but you're still in contact with them, right? I mean, like, how are you and your dad now?
Me and my dad, we are actually very very close. I see him like every day, no problem. Okay. But like my mom, nope.
Yeah,
avoid.
So how are you with your family? So you still stay with them?
Yeah, I still stay with them. I'm good with them. With family members, even my friends, like they are quite supportive. I'm glad.
In your case, like, let's not talk about it. Let's just let's talk about your COVID and everything. Is that so? You just don't discuss transgender issues, is it?
Yeah.
Right. Stick to the safe topics, I suppose, when you're at home, right? I suppose sometimes we all have to live in a little bit of a denial if we want to have like a happy family kind of situation, right? But it's unfortunately mentally it will take a strain on you, because I suppose there's a lot of obstacles in general just being trans here already, right?
There are actually a lot of things, and I will just name two main ones lah. Okay, so number one, it's healthcare, accessible healthcare. So the last time I can honestly tell you where I went to a clinic or hospital, it was when in 2019.
Okay.
Because number one, when I went there, I was about nearly half a year on testosterone, right? And I'm self-medicating. So back then, I'm in Malacca, right? So I go right to a nearby clinic, and I realized that hey, I might have overdose on testosterone, and I think that I should get my blood work checked, right? So I go to a clinic, and then because in Malaysia, number one, you can't change your gender marker.
Yep.
Okay, and then number two, it's majority very Muslim populated country, right?
Yep.
So basically, I went there, and then at first the nurse is just looking at my IC and just like my date name Beatrice, like Beatrice, ini kau ke? Kamu macam lelaki tapi IC perempuan. Because
right. Yeah,
gender
yeah.
marker. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, sorry, hormone problem. I had to keep using that phrase,
Right,
hormone
right.
problem, to get away with anything.
Right.
So then doctor sees me, and then doctor is like a very staunch Muslim,
Right.
right? So basically, I went in, and then he was like, look at my IC, look at me, said, you're not the patient. Said, I am the patient. I just have hormone problem. That's why I come and see you. Right. So then he said, okay, just tell me everything. So I explained to him I'm self-medicating on testosterone and everything, and I feel pain whenever I inject. I think I overdose, but I'm not sure. Can I actually, I need advice, doctor? And then from there on, he just told me like, I can't help you. It's going against my religion. Okay, and you are an alien for doing this. Okay, so please go back. And I was like, okay, I don't mind going back because I don't want that humiliation, So I just like, okay, fine. So I thought I'd take my IC and just make my own business and just walk away. And then he just like, nope. He just basically stopped me and called all the other doctors to come in from the other rooms and just like, look at this animal. And he just took
Wait,
basically
this happened in the Malacca hospital?
Yeah, it's a clinic. Yeah,
Right.
It's a government clinic. So then he just took a pen and he just started poking me when it hurts. And he's just poking me. It's like it's so weird. Like he's just full of acne, full of body acne, and then like he was just saying like it's just so weird. It's like an alien, And I was just like, is this really necessary, doctor?
Yeah.
And then the other doctors are just like they don't know what to say because they don't know what's going on. So they were just like confused. And so the doctor is very simple. I just come here and if you can't help me, I just need a blood work work done.
Right.
So the doctor said, I'm sorry, I cannot help you.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, so that just basically it was humiliating lah. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is basically it's very difficult for trans people to actually get a job. To even go through interviews is just another thing.
Because you have to tick a box, right?
Yeah,
and it's
female or male, and then it's just like weird because like they'll be like, well, actually number is like 5050. So like, why are you like, and you're not a girl, So on that on is even it's it's literally impossible to even go for job interviews.
So how?
Because
how do you do that? Do you
freelance basically?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Saw, is that the same situation for you?
For the job, yes, but because previously I go for internship, so I had the similar situation whereby when I require for the internship, and because I have a connection for the internship, so once I require for the internship and they accept, once they accept, they need to email like a profile. So it's like I send my picture of my profile. They be like, oh, the HR, one of the HR was like, can I have your more feminine picture? I was like, I don't have anyone's feminine picture. Like, this is me.
Yeah.
What do you mean by more feminine picture?
Right.
Then I was like, okay, never mind. I just sent another like more polite, very polite kind, like close to passport photo. So it's like, okay, and then end up he didn't use any one of it. It's just that the first day where I went in for intern and he just snapped a picture of it.
I don't get what the picture has to do with anything, really, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's just very, very strange to me. But a lot of people might ask, right? Like, wouldn't it be easier, right, if you went into a job interview, or if you just for the sake of fitting into boxes? And this happens to a lot of people I've been speaking to, because we've been planning to have this chat and talking about bringing this up. A lot of people I speak to, they say, isn't it just easier if they just accept how it is here? If you're born a certain way, just tick that box. Did you ever think that way, where it's like, I know what I am, but it's just easier for me to just tick that box that says female or whatever it is, because I don't want to deal with the problems, the administrative problems? Do you ever think that?
Every day.
Yeah.
But that's a conflict already, isn't it? Because you go like, number one, I'm trying to be true to myself, and then here I am, because again, like it's a little bit of denial in the sense that you're not going to be able to change the system. You want to change the system, but the system, that's just how it is. Should I take female? Should I take female, or should I just create a new box?
So basically, that happened to me a lot of times. So like sometimes I go for some new job, and then they'll be like, "Oh, okay." So like interview, we thought like your first day, like my co-workers would just tell me like, "Oh, we thought that you were a dude," literally, until like the other people start talking about me that I'm a woman, then they're like, wait, what? No, like he's legit a guy. He's strong, he can lift a lot of boxes, but you're telling me he's a girl, but I'm just like, dude, why can't just because I was born with a vagina, I can't carry heavy things?
Right, yeah.
So like that's like the funniest thing, because like a lot of people, they get confused about gender identity, sexuality, and also about like what are you biologically born with. So like imagine this, a lot of people, you don't actually have this type of scenario to actually think about it. But imagine when you wake up one day and you just know that, oh, I look at a girl, like, oh, okay, I find that girl's cute. I like the girl. I like looking at that girl. But you see a guy, you're just like, wait, no, I don't like looking at guys.
Or one day you just wake up the night before you slept, and then you were, let's just say you were a girl. Let's just say you wake up and you're in a man's body, right? So do you feel strange? Or the night before you knew you were a boy, you knew you were a man, and then you woke up in a woman's body, how would you feel? That's basically how it is, isn't it?
Basically.
Right. You feel like this is not your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you want, when you go for job interviews, do you feel like you need to explain a lot?
A lot. They'll just be like, oh, I see female, but here male.
Dude, seriously, what jobs have you been applying for though? Because there are some companies, I'm pretty sure, especially when it comes to international, more open-minded companies, I suppose, they might not ask. I don't know, right? But do you ever wonder, maybe I'm applying for the wrong places and I should think differently, and
basically, like, I applied to all of the jobs in a shopping mall, so it can be any position, all of them, like from basically just like a storekeeper or like a stockist and everything. Oh, I still won't get accepted just because like they will ask, leave a phone number, and then stuff like, oh, this and everything. Oh, go for the interview, but then they just like, wait, your IC here is perempuan but lelaki. So I'm just like, oh, hormone problem.
How do you change people's minds about this? Because is Malaysia as a community, right? Not a country, not a government or whatever it is, as a community, how do you make them change their minds about this? And do you think they're ready for it?
I think younger generation
open to you guys. I saw, yeah.
I think for younger generation is open for it because they are much more open-minded, and once like they are younger than us, so like once they are born, like, okay, this is the real world, like Gen Z now, like this is the real world with technology world and everything, right? So this is how they're living it, unlike our parents, like traditional back those days, like there is, but it's not popular, it's not in front of their eye. Like now it's everywhere in front of their eye. So that's why like younger generations are more open-minded. So for us to be in a community, to explain to them like how transgender or binary works, like it'll be much easier because they accept and they understand it with open mind. Yeah.
Ashen?
So JD, basically it's quite surprising for me that when I came out as well, because I passed very well before I even started hormones, right? And even before I went by the term transgender and him pronouns, basically it's just very simple. Number one, like I feel that these people who are basically telling like, oh, transgender LGBTQ plus people, they should die, they should rot in hell, they should burn in hell. Basically, number one, imagine like if you have a younger sister or a very, very close friend, and then you're saying all these mean things in your group of family or friends, and they just don't feel comfortable with it. So like it comes down to number one, if you know somebody in your family is like this, and you imagine that you said all those mean things in the past, that prevents them from feeling that you are a safe space for them to actually be themselves, to be who they are. So I feel that is the most important thing, because like I meet a lot of new people every day, and a lot of these people, they don't actually look at my gender as like, oh, it's a big thing, or like it's an issue, like you can't eat haram or anything. No, they don't do that, because like at the end of the day, if I'm nice and when I come up to you that, oh, actually I was born girl and now I'm a man, they're like, oh, wait, what? Really? Oh, that's cool. You're the first person I actually meet. So like I know from back then they were homophobic or transphobic, but if they actually meet somebody in their life who is from that community, from my community, then they'll actually be like, oh, actually it's not that bad, you know.
Yeah.
So that realization, like that reality hits them, and they're like, oh,
But it's
actually,
getting
not
them
that bad.
to realize that that's a problem, right? Because a lot of this also stems from the fact that families, let's say a kid who's transgender explains to the parents, and then the parents accept. Let's just say, right, and completely accepts. Explaining that to the parents' siblings, or maybe the grandparents and everything, that's another issue, because that parent might be completely accepting of it, but then trying to tell his family is like, I have to explain, do I have to go through this all the time and whatnot? So it's a pressure for them as well. But that also means that at some point, generationally, do you think it will be better accepted, or do you think it's ever going to be accepted in our culture?
So like in Selangor recently, the Sharia law and the federal court, basically they had somebody actually ruled out, challenged the court, Sharia law and also the constitutional law.
Right.
And basically in Selangor right now, gender-based criticism and any violence or anything is basically ruled out as not applicable, because like in constitutional law, being gay or being trans is not an issue, but the only issue is Sharia law. So I feel that it will take some time, because now Selangor is already ruled out, all this Sharia law and everything, because it's not, it has nothing to do with each other, religion is
Right.
religion,
Yeah.
law is law.
Yeah.
So I feel that it will slowly then open up. It just takes time and much more awareness and like how would I say, if more people from these communities that don't know that we exist, and just suddenly we just go out and just like help them and everything, all then from then on, you just like, wait, you're trans, or you're gay, wait,
Yeah.
what? I always thought that you guys were like monsters and like
So you're saying it's the fear of the unknown.
yeah,
because they
basically.
don't know.
Mhm.
Okay. I think right now what we're really trying to do in this conversation is, for someone who is transitioning or is confused about their gender, we're trying to help them understand themselves, right? I'm not here to promote it or discourage it. I just want the information out there. If someone is confused about a gender, how do you come out? What's the right way to come out, you think?
I think the best way is actually
Let's focus this on in Malaysia,
best way
because
is
you know how
actually
Malaysia
if
is,
you
right?
have-
We're a bit more conservative.
Yeah.
How do you come out properly in Malaysia?
I think the best way is if you have like a group of friends that is like a same mind, same thinking, or like a same experience, like you're going through, like you're confused of your sexual or your gender. So if you are confused and you just want to reach out, like if you have the same group, because like for my experience is like I have a friend that is same like me, but she's not transgender yet. She's just like a lesbian. So how do I, like, how I open up is that I confront her, I talk to her, like, why am I feeling this way? Like, why are you feeling so different and everything? So once you are like, you confirm your feelings, your emotion, everything, like, why are you feeling that way, or how is it you feeling and everything, like, are you a part of the LGBTQ, like, how, like, why are you feeling everything? And I mean, at the end of the day, if like you get that support, or like you can get the idea of like why you feeling that way, that particular way, you're not feeling like normal, like just in general, male being male, female
Yep.
being female. So if you have that support, and or you can go online, search in Google and everything. I mean, Google has everything.
So, has anyone ever come up to you because they know that you're transgender, right? Do they ever come up to you because they're a bit confused about their gender, and then after having a chat with them, you go, I don't think you're transgendered. I don't think you're
Yeah.
lesbian. I think you're just experimenting. Have you ever had one of those moments?
Yes.
What do you tell them?
Like I had a few. Like, firstly, I'll ask like, how do you feel like when you particularly meet a certain gender? Like, do you have more feelings on male? Do you have more feelings on female? Or like your characteristic as an individual? So do you feel like very tomboyish, or how, or like you being feminine? Like, how do you feel in general? Like being in yourself, and like how do you see people?
Mm.
So with that only, like I would tell them, or maybe you're just curious
Yeah.
of how being together with a girl, something like that. Yeah.
Ashen,
But that doesn't define you like a lesbian.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Ashen, you've been quite the activist, and you're very knowledgeable about the community. You've seen the right things to do, the wrong things to do. Is there a wrong way to come out?
I won't say there is. Oh, very, very deep question. I won't say there is like there is no one right way to come out, because there are many circumstances. There is basically like for thankfully, being Chinese, right? Unfortunately as well, being Chinese, is that I don't get as much backlash compared to my Muslim brothers and sisters out there. So I think that's one good thing. So number one, you need to make sure that your surrounding is safe as well, the circumstances as well. So number one. Number two, you need to be able to come out to yourself first. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Because like if you come out to other people and you're not convinced yourself that you are who you say you are, then if people tell you or they reject you or they basically say like, oh, I don't accept you for who you are, you're gonna feel that pain. And that pain will basically like you will start to doubt yourself again. Or am I really the problem here? Because that's what I used to feel as well. Because when I came out through that video, that YouTube video that you just watched, right? Like I had a lot of my own best friends actually told me that, shouted at me in front of the entire group, say like, I don't accept you for who you are. I know in 10 years time you're gonna get married and you have 10 children, and then you'll be so happy to your very own husband. I'm just like, wait, what? So like for that on, I was just like, you know what? Screw it. Whatever she wants to think about it, she thinks about it. But for me, I know the fact that I am who I am today, and she can't tell me who I am because she has no idea how it feels like.
Do you feel like sometimes these people, right? They think it's a choice for you. Like for you, I'm like, I want to be this. I'll become this, but actually, it's not a choice. You just are, right?
Mm-hmm. It's basically for me. Since I was born, my first instinct was, oh, I feel like a guy. Oh, I feel like a boy. I want to play boy things. I'm a boy. That was my, basically, a lot of people, they get confused about gender. Your gender is not just about what's down there.
Right.
That's what you have, your sexual, basically your genitalia, right? But then for up here is my gender identity since I was born is literally male, boy, boy.
Right.
And then who I like is my sexuality. It's what I feel down here, my heart, right?
Right.
So people always get these things confused, like, oh, but you are a boy because you have a dick or anything. But I'm just like, no, I am a boy because I know that I'm a boy, because I have always remembered and I always know that I am a boy. So people always get confused about that. So from then on, I would say that there is no right way. Like I said, there's no right way. Number one, to come out. There's no like perfect way.
If you don't mind me asking, I just want to cover some bases, talking about fear of the unknown, because most people, they've probably never have ever been in contact with someone from the LGBT community. So I want to get you in on this. When you go buy clothes, right? Do you like changing rooms is completely fine, right? But if there are male changing rooms and female changing rooms, which one do you use?
Both. I'll just go whatever that's near me.
What about restrooms?
Restrooms. I have a lot of experience on this, like restrooms especially. It's like every transgender you ask, they will definitely have this experience. Like once you go in the washroom, they'll be like, are you a guy or girl? Like, are they, or for example, like if you are in the washroom and the person behind you is a lady, and once you walk into the female washroom, they'll be like, they stop at the entrance, like literally at the entrance, they'll be like, okay, I'm in the right washroom.
Right, yeah.
And then they went in. Yeah, and I had the worst experience in washroom that was in overseas. I was a family vacation in Italy. So basically you tour around, right? So we just casually wanted to go washroom. So the nearest was the McDonald's. So there's only one cubicle for female and male. So male was the other side and female is this side. So I was queuing with my mom and my aunt. So I was in front and my mom and my aunt. So there's this lady right behind there. She shouted. She was like, "Oi, this is like a ladies' toilet. Why are you here, man? Men's that side."
Right.
And at that moment, like my mom said back to that lady was like, "This is my daughter."
Right.
I got no words to say.
What did that lady say? Was she
Yeah.
local?
Yeah, she was local.
Right. Okay. And then you were fine, but that was overseas. Locally in here, have you had issues?
It's just the look they give.
Right.
I haven't been called out yet, but just the looks they be like, it's either they just check like, did they go to the wrong toilet, or am I really a girl or boy that walks into the wrong toilet?
Because I'm just thinking, because number one, you're a trans man. I mean, you've transitioned from female to male, right? Or you're still in the transition process, right? I'm just trying to figure out how is it tougher also if you're transitioning from a man to a woman, because the transition is even more apparent in many cases, right? Because you probably want to have long hair, your makeup and whatnot, right? And then which one do you use then, right? Because culturally, that's just how it is everywhere else. Like I've been to Europe where they have like unisex toilets. Everybody just uses it in general, right? But Ashen, do you have those moments where you go, which one do I use?
Basically, I've been using the male's restroom for about 5 years now. No issue whatsoever. Because guys usually they don't really care, right? It's like, okay, I'm just going in, pee and come out. That's all. But like there was this one time where I had no choice but to go to the hospital to actually get a UTI check. You know, just to check. And then because I just came out from the gynecologist, right? From the female doctor, and I was like, okay, it's too obvious for me to come out from here and to enter a male washroom. Right. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make my own business and just like, you know, walk into a female's restroom for the first time in like 2-3 years. So okay, I just walk in. I think like there was a lady and an auntie was just like, "Hey, apa kau buat ni?" You know, just like, "What are you doing here? Like, this is a woman's washroom." Then I was like, nak check saya punya IC. Kalau IC tak cukup, I give her my IC. IC tak cukup, nak ni titik, nak answer, nak say, you want me to put on my pants, got vagina, you want me to show? You know, because that's the only way for me to convince her, because I was really so fed up at the stage, and it was just embarrassing, you know. Because like I used to walk into the bathroom with this container and just like, oh, just get it over with fast, you know.
But in a way, do you sometimes feel for them also where you go, they must be confused because what they see through their eyes, it's a dude. Yet you're in a female's toilet. So they have to ask, because do you ever wonder maybe it's the concern about safety? What's a man doing in a female's toilet? Do you ever put yourself in their shoes and go, I see where they're coming from? Do you ever wonder?
Yeah, basically, I do put myself in their shoes and I just like, okay. Because at the end, they're like, oh, okay, sorry. I'm like, no, sorry. Actually, hormone problem.
Right.
So I just tell them that, and then like, they will just realize that, oh, okay, so actually, I understand that, you know, because I do sometimes, like, if my friend passes out the toilet in the club, the women's toilet in the tub, and I just have to show my IC, like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm a female and I need to save my friend in the toilet, you know. And I can honestly understand that it comes from that safety. Maybe somebody is in a toilet who they know, or from their own safety as well, in case like anything bad happens. You know, because not everyone is, you know, good or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have gay friends, right? And I sometimes feel for them. Then you get some of my gay friends go, why are some of these people from the LGBT community so loud? They want to get their equal rights and everything, let everybody know that they're gay. I know what I am. I don't need to tell the world about it. But do you think it's important to bring awareness to the general population that yes, there is a community, it is a LGBTQ plus whatever it is community, right? Actually, you know what? Before we actually move on, do you guys think that there's just too many different categories?
I think there's a lot of labels.
But already we're talking about, you know what? We're trying to get away from boxes. We're trying to get away from labels. Yet more labels are being put on. So from the other side of the spectrum, where people who are male, they stick to being male. There are women. There are people who are female. They stick to being female. They're confused about it. So is this making them even more confused?
I can understand.
It is.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So how? Just from that, you're making people, a lot of the people in the general population go, you know what? It's so confusing. I'd rather not know. When you're trying to educate them, and then you're making people even more confused. How do you bring awareness to the LGBTQ plus community?
Oof. So
You get where I'm coming from, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because I'm male. I have female friends. I have gay friends. I have friends who are trans and as well, and I feel for them. But the thing is, and I know this already, and I've accepted them. It's not even a question. They're just friends of mine. I don't care what gender they are, whatever. But even I get confused, you know? So is that a big hurdle to get across? What needs to be done?
There's a lot to be done because it's like everything, if you're gonna go step by step, it has to be very detailed. That's the thing.
So what do you think is the first step then, Saw?
I think first step is to acknowledge like who we are as a human being, like the acceptance, like male being male, female being female, like LGBTQ being the LGBTQ, the acceptance. Yes.
Ashen?
I think that it's very interesting because I understand how you feel as well, because as a transgender person, right, I do realize that when I came out as a trans man, everybody put me into that box of like, okay, so you're actually leaning more towards being a man. So you have to be more masculine, you have to be more this. So it all comes down to that stereotype, you know, and I just hated that the fact that I came out as a trans man as well, you know, because I just want to be myself.
Correct.
You know, I don't like that marker on top of me, you know. It's like, oh, I'm a trans man and I can do it, so I have to be 100% dude. I can't be feminine, or I can't be weak in front of girls. It's just like, I understand it's kind of like confusing at the same time, because that was what I went through, that trauma of like, hey, you're not being a real man, so man up, you know. Right. I'm just like, wait, what? I to give me time, I need to adjust, you know. At the same time, I understand because like a lot of these labels tend to be very confusing, and at the same time, it makes people get very fed up and just like give up, and I don't want to know anymore, you know. And I just realized that, you know, it's all this comes down to acceptance, and number one, acceptance, number two, just like, you know, understanding where we're coming from, and like, you know, just be able to both parties, or all the parties, to actually put themselves in each other's shoes. You know, understand that it's difficult for the LGBTQ plus community, and like it's definitely slowly taking a step at a time, but definitely it's for me as well. I've been in this community for like what my entire life. I still cannot even remember like the plus, a lot extra as well. So yeah.
But there are those who have been oppressed for so long from the LGBT community, where someone asks them, so what are you really? Because people generally don't know how to freaking ask questions correctly anyway, right? They don't have a proper gentle way of asking questions. Hey, so what are you? You know, that's just a very Malaysian thing anyway, right? So what are you? They probably genuinely want to know. They're just assholes for not knowing how to ask. How do you feel about that?
I just feel that number one, maybe like honestly, it might shock everybody. Maybe it's not shocking as well. But even in the LGBTQ plus community, there are like groups that actually advocate for LGB community only because they are against trans people. You know, there are like so it's just like a clash of like politics and then like transphobia as well in within the own community, and there are people who are against the LGBTQ plus community can be also against bisexual people. So like it's all like a stereotype because like honestly, if you want to get everybody along, it's just I don't know why but it's so difficult to get along.
Wait. Okay. So let's backtrack slightly, okay? Because this is getting even more interesting. So wait, are you telling me? So I want your thoughts on this, right? Because number one, Ashen's been in this LGBTQ community for a while. You're an activist and everything, but you're already having issues dealing with your own family on this, right? That's already one problem, and you're definitely a T in the LGBTQ community. But now Ashen's saying the L's don't necessarily get along with the B's, and the B's don't necessarily get along with the G's, and the T's sometimes get ostracized by the entire community, and then the plus are going, hey, we're plus. So within the community, there's a distrust or there's a hate amongst each other. What the fuck's going on?
Toxic lah, basically.
So how are you gonna get
Yes.
how are you gonna move this community along if internally you guys are just fighting amongst yourselves?
Yeah, but I think although it's like political, although there is hate between each other, but it's not like 100% hate. There is still like togetherness. Yeah, it's just like certain individuals on hating each other, like gays are not comfortable with lesbians and lesbians not comfortable with transgender and everything.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like the individuals of the hatred thing. But if you see in overall, like in the whole country in Malaysia, like everyone in the community is fighting for the rights for LGBT. But that's the way you can see the togetherness, like 70% of it. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, what we're saying is, yes, we're fighting amongst each other, but if an outsider were to criticize, let's say a lesbian was being criticized by someone from the outside, a trans person will back that lesbian, or you know what I mean, right?
Yep.
It's like, I don't get along
Yes.
with my brother in my family. I argue with him all the freaking time, but somebody else says, hey, your brother's an asshole. Okay, fuck you. Okay? Nobody can say anything about my brother except me. Is that what it is? Is that basically what it is?
Yep.
Okay, I get it. But generally though, do the groups not get along? The gays,
But I think
don't get along
it
with
comes.
the bisexuals.
I think it comes down to their own personal beliefs lah. Because so far I've seen on Twitter, oh my god, in the US especially, it's just like there are movements that literally like LGBT the community, and then they literally just leave out a T because they are against it in the US. But in Malaysia so far I see that it's fine. But personally, from my own experience, my own gay, bisexual and lesbian friends, they just don't accept me. So yep.
I'm sorry. You know,
That's right.
I guess it's like
That's
it's
sad.
like, you know what? Football is better than hockey, whatever it is. But internally, I'm a Man United fan. You're a Liverpool fan. It's a horrible way to explain it, but basically, it's just internally there are some factions who just don't get along. I'm guessing, right? So, I guess you could say, from what I see, this community is getting louder. I suppose you're trying to get more people to accept the community as a whole already. Yes, there are internal problems or whatever, but in Malaysia, if someone wants to know more about the community, where can we go? Because there's a lot of misinformation going on all over the place. Where do we go to find out more? Do we just call up Nisha, Ayub, and find out, hey, we want to know more? Or is there a website that we can go to?
So you take this, or you want me to take this?
Anybody saw? Yeah.
You go ahead first.
Okay, so shout out to basically there are a few basically accounts that I literally find that they are the most resourceful. Number one is Pluho. People like us hang out. That's basically my number one go-to for anything gay related or the LGBTQ plus related. Okay, and basically it's actually quite. I think they got an award for activism in the US as well. So number 1, Pluho. Number 2,
How do you say?
it's PLUHO. People like us hang out.
Blueho.com? Is it like just a
It's
website?
Facebook
Alright,
as well.
okay.
Got
All
yeah.
right.
And then second one, there is also Queer Lapis.
Queer Lapis.
Yep.
Fuck, I love that. Okay.
Like Queer Lapis, but
Right,
Queer
right.
Lapis.
Right.
Yeah. So Queer Lapis there is social media for them as well. There's Twitter, there's Facebook, and then they have their own website as well. And also that is more towards the general LGBTQ plus as well. And that for directly about transgender, I would suggest the Seed Foundation, SEED Foundation. Basically,
Okay.
it's actually a homeless shelter in KL itself, founded by Nisha Ayub, and basically it's for sex workers and everything. Basically, as a shelter, and also for trans women in general. Yeah. So these three, basically, I can basically say that they are the most reliable sources for anything related to sexual or even LGBTQ plus related. Yeah.
Right. So, is there one person in the LGBTQ community that you look up to?
I can't think right now.
Do you feel alone in this, or is there someone that sometimes?
One person. I think I.
Like, okay, in a horrible way, I'm just gonna put this out at you, lah. When you saw Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and you saw the transition, right, of what's it?
Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, exactly. What did you think? Was that pushing the community forward, or did you think like, oh shit, this is all about publicity, this is going the wrong way, this is not how we want to be perceived?
Publicity. Just
right?
Because she's famous. Yeah.
Was it a good thing though? Did you think it was good for the community, or did you think it was just going in reverse?
No, I don't think it's a good thing. But because if you take this community for publicity wise, it's definitely not a good thing.
Ashen, what do you think? Well, who do you look up to? Because you talked about a little bit about Nisha Ayub, but when you saw that, did you go, fuck, we're trying so hard to get this this positive vibe going, and then this moron does this, and then it's all about publicity.
Basically, like Caitlyn Jenner, from all the interviews that I watched, because I was really curious, I was like, is she really trans? You know, because I know the family history and everything, right? So from like a lot of interviews where I see her on Ellen DeGeneres show, and then she's like, you know, her previous gender, married to the wife, right? And then she just went on Ellen, and Ellen was like, so you're a lesbian? And then she was just like, no, I'm not a lesbian. That's disgusting. I'm just like, wait, what? I didn't get it.
You see, that's what makes people confused. You know,
Exactly.
Already we really want to understand.
Oh my god! And then like
the Ellen thing was perfect because Ellen is full on. She's all about. I know there's a lot of things going on with Ellen DeGeneres right now about workplace and whatever the shit, right? But the thing is, when it comes to the gay rights and everything, she is very loud and very outspoken and very forthright about things, right? And I respect her for that, right? What the workplace stuff, I don't know what the hell's going on, right? But the thing is, when she asks, is like, are you lesbian? What are you? And then Caitlyn Jenner's going, like what you said, no, I'm not, right? Everybody gets confused. Even LGBTQ community gets confused, right?
I was so curious, like, wait, so do you love your wife? Do you not love your wife? So then, like, I don't get it. So I was like, so what is this stunt all about? You know, because like, I saw so many, like, basically, I can say that Caitlyn Jenner kind of took advantage of it, lah. Because like I saw a lot, because she was a previous Olympian, right? Was a legend, lah, basically. And then it, like, for her to transition, and then for of course I understand she got stripped off from medals and stuff like that. But then like and then I heard about something that she competed something like that again with her new gender and whatnot. And for me, I'm all about, like, of course, if I'm a trans, because I used to be a national fencer as well. So like, I understand, like, for me, I am not allowed to even legally be participating in the women's category anymore because I'm on hormones, right? But for her, it's like, it's just so complicated because when I watch interviews of her, I'm just like, stop making me more confused.
Correct. You're already,
oh my God.
You're already trying to figure yourself out already, right? And you know what? Actually, that's a good part about the sports one. Again, we need to talk a little bit more about this in another time because there's just so much I want to find out, right? Because in sports, there's some things you can do, you cannot do. Are you really a woman? Are you really a man? Like there's this runner, Cassius Semenya, running for women, and then weightlifting. There's been a controversy recently. We're gonna get to that in another discussion. But right now, I'm just trying to figure out the community itself, right? And you touched on something just now about your chat with a friend about kids. Let's ask Saw first. Saw, do you ever think about that? How you're in your 20s right now, right? But at some point, do you ever go like, I want to have a family? Do you ever think about having a family?
Not yet.
Right.
No, I don't. I don't have that thought of like to have a family. But if I would to have a family, it's either through the procedure or adopt. Yeah.
Right. So you want to have kids, right? Do you like kids? I mean,
Maybe just one.
Generally, all right. So you want, right? Right. I mean, if you have a partner who wants kids, right, you're gonna go that route, right? But Ashton, what about you? Do you ever think about having kids?
Very good question. So, like, basically, for there are a few scenarios where basically I thought about it
I
because
love
like
Ashton. Ashton was like, I got this. Okay, right. So yeah, okay. Right.
So like of course like health wise speaking, because I'm on testosterone, right? So
Correct,
basically it stops my ovaries from being my basically everything lah. My female productive system is basically like, nope, close shop ready. Okay.
At this point, you will never have maternal instincts, basically, right? You're thinking, right?
Basically, like for me, it's impossible for me to get pregnant. But maybe in the future, I would definitely adopt, because like I feel like even for my own family, it's just tough for me to actually have that connection, or even having, of course, biological babies is good, but I feel that there are a lot of children out there who need a home.
Correct.
So I would prefer adopting.
Is it hard though to do it here? Have you guys been checking? I don't know, right? Legally, is that a nightmare for LGBT couples to even adopt?
Yep, I did a bit of research, and number one, I think
you did, because yeah, right.
Contemplating like thoughts, so like
right.
It's just like, because number one, I think I did research recently. It's like basically you need to be married, and like
correct.
It's just a very, very long procedure, and then you need the parents, the guardian, or whoever to actually give you the permission to actually adopt as well. And then like, because I have brothers as well, my own god brother as well, is also adopted a few children, and I realized that it is not easy, even for married couples, married hetero couples. So and then I was like, oh, okay, so actually it's quite
there's
difficult.
just so much to go through, right?
Yep.
Okay, so knowing what you know now, and after hearing what Ashen has to say about all this, because it's like a wealth of information, right? For you, so do you ever think, you know what, if I want to continue doing what I do, living my life as a trans man, I need to leave the country? Do you ever think that?
I thought of it. Yeah.
Where would you
like
go?
it runs through in my mind. Probably Canada.
Right.
Or Switzerland. Yeah, that's like the best place. Yes. Because there they accept you, and they're open in on LGBT, and they accept marriage and everything, or everything's legal there.
Ashton, what about you?
Basically,
Malacca all the way. I will never be foul from a chicken rice ball.
No. I cannot live without spiciness. I cannot live without nasi lemak, definitely. But like,
yeah.
So, but basically, like, I'm still 50-50. No, because ever since, like, the main sole reason for me is setting my Instagram, my Facebook, everything, all is just to become an activist, to become that person. Like, let's say if a child were to like, okay, I feel sexually confused, and I feel that everybody tells me that what I'm feeling is wrong. So whenever they find out, like, transgender in Malaysia, like the hashtag, and I just pop out. So I just want to be that source of like, hey, actually there is somebody like me who is older, so I do have a future. Right. So that's where I want to be. At the same time, again, I do know that in Malaysia, in Melaka itself, because Nisha Ayub is actually from Melaka as well, right? And she was arrested in Melaka as well for cross-dressing, right? So
Right.
like, it is really tough for me to be in Melaka, but I think in KL it's much more open there. You know, it's
Right.
much more. They don't really care as much as in Melaka, you know. But like, definitely it's 50-50 lah. You know, half heart is like just introduce for my resident, and half heart is just like I should just stay here and try and make things better. You know,
Right. Do you think it's harder to be a trans woman though? I mean, here, because it's
trans
so
woman,
obvious.
it's very it's
So
much
obvious,
more
right?
harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much more obvious.
Yeah. Because every time I think of transgender rights, or I mean, like, or the LGBTQ community, I think of Nisha Ayub, and then of all the work that she's doing, because she's trying to break the mindset that, oh, if you are a transgender woman, you're definitely going to be in the sex industry. No, I've got I've got so many friends who are trans women who are doing other kinds of work as well, right? Professional work, corporate work. But now the team here, they just put this in, and I'm fascinated by this because apparently Bangladesh TV hired the country's first transgender news anchor. That is freaking awesome. I think that's great. What do you think about that? Do you think we'll ever see that here in Malaysia, Saw? If you saw that on TV, what would you think?
I hope.
Like what? That's wicked awesome.
Oh,
Is that how you feel?
Yes, that's like a victory, man.
Really?
Yeah.
What about you, Ashen?
Oh, okay. So
Do you think will happen?
I feel that it will happen, but at the same time, you know, before our election, right? I think one of the politicians actually hired a trans woman. From what the articles always say, like trans woman as
Yeah.
a politician, running for politician, everything. Oh, it used to be like a very very big issue, just for being the running candidate's helper. And I was just like, what's the issue? Like, I don't get it,
Right.
you know. But hopefully soon, because like I realized that in a lot of countries, like in India itself, there are a lot of trans individuals who are like idolized there. You know,
Right.
in India, like one trans woman is actually like basically like I idolize her like a god, like a goddess. So I'm just like, whoa! If India is actually so accepting of that, then hopefully in Malaysia it comes to even this half of it. I'm happy enough, because it comes down to just being able to understand, and I feel that enough is that itself is just enough lah.
Yeah.
It's a good progress, you know, slow.
Step by step, lah, I suppose.
Mhm.
You know what, guys? That's just so much. I could go on for another hour. Could keep talking, right? You know, but there's just so much that we need to talk about. I'm so happy that we got to have this conversation, because number one, it's just, you know, it wasn't anything about rights and whatever. It's just getting to know each other and know what it feels like to be you, right? So we will have more conversations. We will get in touch again. We will be. Let's just hang out one of these days and talk more, right? Because number one, I want to find out all about the psycho girlfriends also. But right, I just want to thank you for being so open and just doing this with us. So, Saw Ashen, thanks for joining us.
No problem, man. Anytime.
Thank you.
Hey guys, we hope you loved that discussion. But for the full discussion and all our other videos, click right here. And remember, don't be a dick.